Good afternoon. Welcome in. It's B94.9 WATV. Happy Monday to you. Mood, music, and motivation Monday is normally what I call it. And I'm holding it down today for Chris Coleman, who is handling radio business. So welcome in. I'm going to give you guys time to get in, get your radio set, tell your friends, tell your family. We are being vital today in the think tank. So come on in here. Got a lot to talk about. It's a lot on my mind. So today I'm actually going to be talking to you guys a little bit more than I normally do when I'm in the think tank. So I want you to be a part of the conversation. It's a all the way around conversation. I need your feedback as well because there are some things that are affecting all of us that I don't know that we really are paying attention to. Are we really engaged? Are we doing what we're supposed to do? Are we interested? Are we motivated? Do we understand what's happening around us? Are we even paying attention? Are we interested or concerned? And that's what I'm concerned about. I ain't mad at nobody about it, but I am interested. I'm concerned. I'm not mad about it. So we're going to talk about some things as far as politics goes. Why? Because that's what we do. We are a station that is fueled by the decisions that are made by governing officials. Our lives are that way. So we have to have conversations about it. We have to have opinions on it. We have to be involved in the process. And I'm really fearful that we aren't. So we're going to find out today, why not? What happened? Like, what changed? What has changed? What is going on with society and people and their concern for their situations? Now, I was very clear about the fact that in my show, I'm all about positivity. That doesn't mean that we can't address the negative, but when you address the negative, you got to have solutions. It's got to be some positive outcomes when you address the negative. So that's what we'll be doing today in the think tank. Hello, Charisma. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Tell your people to come on in and let's get this conversation started as Vital invades the think tank. So let's start here. I know you all are still mourning the loss of the Alabama game versus Tennessee. That was a big deal for you all. I can't say that it impacted me one way or the other. Not at all, almost. Not at all. It really did. Not at all. But for those of you who it did, I got more feedback about that than people knowing who's running for U.S. Senate in the area or people watching national news and looking at what's going on across the line in Georgia with Stacey Abrams running for governor and how basically she may lose this because blacks aren't voting. That's the vote that she can't count on. Ain't that crazy? A black woman running against the governor now. And this black woman does not really have the support of black people. It's interesting. It's really crazy. So that's across the line. But right here in the city, in the state of Alabama, we don't even know what's going on here. And I'm really concerned about that. Really concerned about it. So I want you guys to be a part of this conversation. 994-8949 is the number. 994-8949 is the number. October 24th is the last day to update or register to vote. So if you're sitting around and you're thinking about it, I haven't voted in any elections, but I love to call into the think tank and talk noise. I don't understand that, but today may be the day for you to call in to explain to me and the other listeners, the peeps and fam that pay attention to the think tank. It may be a good time for you to call in and explain to us what happened to you. Why are you not a part of the political process? Why are you not interested? Why do you not contribute? Why don't you vote? I do want to know for those who have decided not to exercise the right that has been fought for. People have died for it. And we hear this every time it's an election, but we have to hear it. We have to continue to say it because apparently somebody's not getting the message or either we're not saying it the right way. So I'm here today to see what's really going on. I've noticed some other things that we're going to talk about as well. A black serial killer, Wesley Brownlee, has been arrested. We're going to talk about that. And the weather changing. That's political as well. Climate control. We're going to talk about what's about to happen and what the city of Birmingham is doing about that. So that's some other things we'll be talking about today. 994-8949 is the number. Phone lines are not open yet. That's the number. So go ahead and write it down. 994-8949. Feel free to comment in the comments on the lives. There's several. So feel free to get in on those as well. Let's do a roll call and see who all is in here. Who is here? We got Miss Monica. What up, Lynn from Fairfield? Hello, hello. Chris Wilson. Hey there. Tamika. Hey. Kofi. Hello there. Who else? Let's see. Oh yeah, Kofi, you can keep it coming because I'm interested to hear why they're so important. Unity. Hey there. Rosalind. Hey. Dina. Hello, hello. And Ms. Davis, hello to you as well. So we'll start with Ms. Davis. Just a roll call, letting you know who's in here, who's watching. Welcome in. This on one stream. If you're watching from somewhere else, be sure to hit me up on the V949 page and let me know that you're watching and listening as well. And post your comments. I want to know what you're talking about and what you're contributing to the conversation. What's good, Brian Pride? Hello there. All right, so let's start with Kofi. Kofi said that he forgot that Chris was out today. Chris is out today, yes. He was about to get on him about the game. He swear Bama had one of the best defenses. Now, look, like I said, I don't know nothing about that, but I see more people talking about Alabama football than I see them talking about their own voting rights and how they're impacted by things in society on a daily basis. If I can give you some Alabama football to talk about and somebody to cancel or complain about, folk gonna talk then. But when it comes to real life situations, we don't have that same enthusiasm. I'm just trying to see what happened. How did life change this way? I remember back in the early 90s, the 80s, late 80s, there were organizations who worked tirelessly. There were people that you could identify that were working, mobilizing in the churches, in the schools. I mean, everywhere. Individuals who you knew always had a voter registration form in the car, in their book bag, or something like that. But nowadays, it's hard to identify those people. And even if you can identify those people, their work is going unnoticed or unsupported. What happened? And I don't want to hear that it was a pandemic. Not totally, but I do want to hear from you if you want to help me understand what we're facing and why does it seem as if we are almost doomed. I want to know why. Am I the only one that feels that way? People are not interested in processes around them and they give up too easily and get quiet. All we talk about is Alabama football, where you going this weekend, and what you about to eat. That's what we talk about. I want to talk about more than that. Collier in the think tank with Lady Wu. What's your comment?
Hey, Lady Wu, this is Grace. How you
Hey,
doing?
Grace. How are you?
Doing just great. I'm so glad that you're talking about this topic and subject because it's very sad and disappointing, what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And it's not about COVID at this point. To me, in my opinion, it's a lot of people that are being selfish. Their eyes are closed to me, their eyes are closed to the troubles of the world and what's around them.
Right.
So it's almost kind of like that effect of I have mine together, so you'll worry about yours.
And
Or,
that's what I feel too, Grace. I really do.
yeah, it's sad because like I saw a little bit of the debate over in Georgia with Herschel Walker and Warnock, and I'm like, I cannot believe they're neck and neck. I
Look.
can't believe it because it's Twilight Zone. It's the Twilight Zone where I don't understand it. It's like we have no foot soldiers, like you were saying a moment ago. In our time, that's standing up when you had the Dr. Martin Luther Kings, the
Right.
Malcolm X's, and so many to choose from and to name that's going out and just speaking up, and then people to me have lost faith, hope, trust, and all of that stuff because it's like if I do it, it's still not going to make a difference
Girl, and
because the
somebody
goalposts
just
going to be pushed.
commented that. Yeah, somebody just said that. So when I
Yeah,
get down to the comments, I'll share it again. But one thing we do have, and we have Faith. So Faith, if you want to get back in and call a little bit later, feel free to do so. But everything she said is exactly what I've been thinking about. Not just to come here and do this today, but just overall, just what has happened. Um, it's really concerning. I have a teenage daughter, and I'm wondering, like, well, what are we leaving for them? What are we showing them? What are we teaching them? I don't know that a lot of us even get involved with our children in that way to talk about things that they will be facing when we are no longer here to instruct or to support them in their daily lives. I don't know what they know. I know what mine knows, but overall, I don't know what they know. I don't know what the community is teaching. I don't know that they understand what the political process means. So when you think about your daily life, everything, every single thing that we do is for survival. Everything. And this is clinically proven. This is life. This is how it happens. Everything that we do, from blinking our eyes and eating and sleeping and the way we move, is for survival. Everything that we do, every single thing. The government is almost involved in every single thing that we do when it comes to our survival. So if we're a part of the governmental process, then we can have a voice in how we're treated and what we have and the different things that are in our faces on a daily basis that we complain about. But if we don't put people in place or speak up and give ideas and don't support things and don't shop here, we're going to continue to get what we're given. Very simple. We're going to get what we're given if we don't say or do anything. Let's go to these comments because I see y'all talking to me, and I want to make sure that we get everybody in. Um, let's see. Some aren't interested because they don't see a change in their life regardless of who gets elected. Desmond, I totally agree with that. I do agree with that. I understand that. And we can talk about that as well. They don't vote because they don't see a change in their lives. Now, when I hear comments like that, I understand it because I understand how survival works. I need my hierarchy of needs to be met on a daily basis regularly, meaning the food that I eat, where I live, security, self actualization. That's at the very top of that pyramid. I'm teaching now, but it's up there and it talks about how once I've gained the basic necessities of life, I'm good in those things. Now I can see who I am and what I mean to society, what I mean to myself. Until you get those things, it's going to be hard to really be able to get in there and make a difference because I don't even have the basic things that I need, which could come from so many other factors. I get it though. I do get it. Somebody that's listening may have a solution for that. How can everybody be given basic needs? Can we get around the government on that part? I don't know. Some of the OGs say that they won't vote because voting never done anything. And Jamil says, I'm just reporting what I've heard. I've heard that before as well. The OGs have said that, like, voting ain't never did nothing for me. But voting does do everything for you. Everything. For or against you. We got to look at it that way too. When you start looking at the against, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later on in the show, the things that are against you. I'm talking about eligible convictions that disqualify felony convictions by category. I'm going to tell you what those are. A lot of people don't know what those are. So you got people not voting because they feel like they're felons and they don't have that right hadn't been restored. Your right ain't never been taken, but you don't know that. It's so much. It's so much. 9948949 is the number. 9948949 is the number. What the hell has happened to us? And what is going to happen to us if we don't stand up and become a part of the process? That's the question of the hour. What happened? What's going to happen? And are we okay with it? I think a lot of us are okay with it. As long as Nick Saban say, stay at Alabama, y'all okay with it. Nothing else matters. Okay. All right. Our people will perish for lack of knowledge is what Maria says, and I totally agree. So are we perishing? Is that where we are now? We just waiting on Jesus to come back and just take us on away because nobody's involved, nobody's interested? Is that where we are? Like, what are we doing? Robert, it's about power. Whose power? Who has the power? I thought it was power to the people. I'm just trying to see. Robert, another Robert, says that churches are more concerned about style instead of substance. Society is more concerned about popularity instead of what's right. Now, that's a good one. That'll preach right there. Hello, Mr. Stanley. So you're listening to the think tank is being invaded by Lady Wu, Vital, all up in this thing for 2 hours with you. We're talking about things that impact us on a daily basis that we don't talk about until it's time to vote. But we got to talk about this stuff on a daily basis, straight up and direct, right here on V94.9 WATV. I'm coming to the phone lines right now. Caller, you're in. What's your comment?
Lady Wu,
Hey there.
you stepping on some toes this afternoon.
Oh, I brought my heels today. What's up?
Good. Couple of things real quick.
Okay.
First of all, you asked the question, what has happened to us? We are too focused on sports entertainment, partying, and don't realize the things that affect our very lives. In other words, we've been dumbed down to think that enjoying yourself and having fun is more important than knowing who your senators, your representatives, your council, your county commission. A lot of those folks can tell you everybody's on the bench, what position they play.
Yep.
But they can't tell you none of those things when it comes to the people who vote on issues that control their very lives.
How did this happen? How you think this happened?
We've been dumbed down by people that look like us who had control of resources. See, in the 60s, a lot of our people that moved to the inner city came from rural areas where they didn't really have a good quality of education, and they entrusted people to build on the fact that the more they learned and knew about issues and how to handle things, it will work out better for themselves. But we put people in positions that their only concern was not the masses, but the classes, which was me, myself, and my four and no more.
All right.
We've seen it in our school system. We've seen it in these boards and agencies that control all the resources in Birmingham, while our people party and are lulled to sleep with entertainment and having fun.
Oh, my goodness. I thought I was stepping on toes today. That's you. 9948949 is the number. 9948949 is the number. There's a comment that goes right along with what our caller just said from Corey Petway, who was on the show last night. Hey, Corey. He He says a lot of those trusted organizations ended up getting infiltrated by those with hidden agendas, and the people have been sucked dry so badly that it takes trusted organizations and individuals to give extensive treatments. All right. All right. All right. All right. Y'all, look. This is where we are. This is where we are. This is how we live. Now, I live by the motto life in balance. Just very basic. That's a very simple motto that I live by daily in every move that I make, life in balance. And when it comes to that part about partying and having a good time, I'm all about that. But I can't party and have a good time knowing that life around me is dwindling and just people are just wasting away. So it's always important to me to be vital, to jump in this tank and think with you, bring about thought-provoking conversation, but not just talk about it, but then be solution focused. If we can have these conversations and we can identify what happened, I'm quite sure we can identify what needs to be done, right? Or are we scared to do that? Is there a fear of getting out in our own communities and talking about the issues? Talking about the issues and talking about the solutions. Is there a fear? Let me take this moment to segue and talk about Corey Petway, who was on the show last night. If you listened last night, and if you don't listen, you need to start. We've been here since the pandemic, and now that we're back out of the pandemic or easing out of it, you need to ease into Vital every Sunday night right here at 7 p.m. on B94.9 WATV, where we talk about a lot of the same things that you talk about right here in the daytime in the think tank. We just do it a little bit different, but I promise you'll love it. But last night, Corey Petway was in a 100 Black Men Deep Walk. It's the name of the organization. They have events and they're doing walks and doing community cleanups. They're knocking on doors. They're talking to other young men and really making an impact in the community. So there are some people doing it, but I wonder what happens. I know that a lot of the think tank, the audience may be a generation or two above where I am, even though I just had a birthday. I ain't caught up with you yet. There may be a difference, but I do feel like a bridge builder. I feel like it's important for us to have these conversations from every generation. There are many generations who listen to us. So I think it's important that we have these conversations. But one thing for sure, I can imagine that the elders, older adults, may be somewhat fearful of getting out in the streets, getting in the community, going next door and talking to the neighbors, because you hear these headlines and these breaking news stories about neighbors killing each other, or the elderly being attacked, or the teenager. You hear crazy stories, but I wonder, has it scared us so much that we can't be neighborly and share this information with each other, encourage each other, inspire each other, teach each other? So I'm wondering about all of that. That's on my mind right now, like in a very heavy type of way. So yeah, that's where I am. I thank y'all for being here with me. Michelle Estelle said, "Hey tankers, what's the topic? Us, Michelle, and how the government affects us and how we're not involved in the political process. That's the topic. Welcome in everybody else." Joe Crenshaw, what it do? Comment says, "There's a major disconnect with politicians and the people. Too many hidden agendas and constant distrust among others, and it's a major problem." Okay, so politicians are people, right? But there's a disconnect from the politicians and the people. I need help on that one, Joe. The phone lines are open. 994-8949. Why are we so disconnected from people that we put in office? How does that happen? I voted you in because you live in my neighborhood. You went to school with me. You look like me. That's why you in there. All right. Desmond says, "Please, sir, stop. White people watch sports too. Some of us can walk and chew gum at the same time." Okay, Desmond, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. But as we walk and chew, are we talking about things bigger than sports? What up? How are you? So as I have this conversation, one of the Vital crew members just came in the room and is going to be a part of this conversation as well. Oh, thank you. And he brought some ribs. How vital are you, my brother? It's Chuck, everybody. Chuck, look.
What are we talking about?
We are talking about us. And that's like I just told Miss Michelle on here on the live. Like, that's the best way for me to put it. When you talk about governmental processes, basically you're talking about us, right? You're talking about people and how people are impacted by a process that they aren't really a part of anymore. Sure. Like, if you don't vote, basically you
asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, you just
miss me with all that nonsense.
You just gotcha.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then complaining about things that don't go their way, and the people ought to do this and they can't do this to me. They shouldn't do this to us, but
you ain't vote. You ain't vote.
Right. So that's the conversation today. Y'all, I want you to see Chuck, and we're gonna see if we can't make that happen in a little while.
October 24th, last day to register to vote.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna get into that, more dates. Let me get some more of these comments in. Chuck, the last one that I just read was about politicians being disconnected from the people. Like I'm
That's
asking,
true.
what happened to us? I know you know because you grew up in a family that is very people friendly, like service oriented, education geared.
Not everybody should be an elected official. Like,
Okay.
Some people do it. Some people do it because they need a job. Like real
Oh,
talk.
this would be a good job for me to have.
Yeah, and then they sort of forget that you're supposed to be, you're supposed to be representing your constituents, and I don't know that everybody does a good job of that. So,
So for a job, I'm gonna get out here and make decisions on other people's behalf.
popularity contests.
And
Sometimes the best person that wins is not the. Sometimes the most qualified person is not the person that wins an election.
Hardly ever. Okay. So that was one point that the politicians who are elected, the people that are in place, are often disconnected from the people. I
won't say often, but there are some. I mean, there's some people that are out there doing the good fight, like Birmingham City Council members. I think a lot. So it's on all levels.
Get them a bill.
There are judges that are out there doing a good job for folks. They're, like I said, city council people, representatives. I don't want to start naming names.
Right.
Leave somebody out.
I work too.
Right.
I go hard too. Right. You do.
There's some trash ones out there too now.
Yeah, I bet they won't say nothing. Okay. So people make people make the world go round.
People make girls too.
That too. And they make us go round. But look, people make the world go round. So we put people in place who we think represent our best interest for the most part. But then when those interests get infiltrated with money, and tickets and access,
see, here we go. It must be classic season.
It's classic season.
Black Christmas around the corner.
It's classic season. We're gonna get to all of that. But when that starts happening, you really can see who's for you and who has a job and access. So let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're in the think tank. What you got?
They don't want to talk to us
Caller.
we and Chris.
Hey, no, don't say that. They be talking. Hello. Okay. Caller, you're in the think tank. What's your question, comment?
Hey, well, what up, Big Joe?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. Hey, touching on my comment, I was just saying that, I feel like it's a disconnect because most people that, we vote in, of course, they talk the sweet game, what they're gonna do for a second they get voted in and everything else. And then once they get voted in, they do the complete opposite. And I feel like since it's been on a constant basis, a lot of people are like at that distrust. They're like, well, I put you in for this, but you haven't done that. And it's been a constant cycle. So it's like everybody's now like taking a step back, like, why should I vote for you? Like, show me instead of just telling me what you're gonna do. Show me what your actions.
I get it.
But you don't feel that way about everybody, right?
No, I don't feel that way about everybody, but I mean, like at the end of the day, you do have certain things and certain protocols that you do have to go through. And like you stated earlier, some people get actually treat it like it's a regular old job. And sometimes you don't have to, you don't have to make it seem like it's a job, because at the end of the day, you are serving for the people. You are looking out for their best interests, not just your own.
So a couple things, right? Number one, I think sometimes people make promises that they actually intend on fulfilling, but then they get in office and they realize I can't actually do that. Or the process is a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. Like sometimes people expect folks to just snap their fingers and make it happen. That's just a dance. Like that's just a song. Snap your fingers, a song. Like that don't happen. It don't happen that way for a lot of people, right? And there's a lot of processes that are in place, and it just takes some time. Like, people still killing the mayor about the stadium because 99, he ran on 99 districts or whatever, right? Or 99 neighborhoods. But what folks don't understand is it takes time. Like these big things, a lot of people are like, if it doesn't happen in my neighborhood right now, it doesn't matter. And like Black folks, for good reason, don't trust the concept of trickle out economics, right? So like if you build up downtown and you focus on some things, that's going to inure to the benefit of like all of the neighborhoods and all of the people in the city of Birmingham, but people don't see it that way. They just look at the 90 million, 10 million, whatever.
Right. You got all this money. What's up? So look, I'm going to share something personal about that too when we come back. So we got to take a quick break. I appreciate you all chiming in. This is just the beginning. I have so much information over here on this side to share with you. And I got my partner in the building is going to help me do this as well. So save all your comments. Y'all can talk amongst each other. We're going to mute our radio mics and take a quick radio break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Think Tank on B94.9 WATV, where Vital is invading the situation today. Chuck, you like that? We're invading the Think Tank. Okay, invading it, doing it our way. Chris is okay with that. He's like, "Woo, do you?"
Shout out to Chris Coleman.
Right. So, Chris, we got you as we always do. So, commenters, hold your comments because I want to get you on the air. So, if you're on the phone lines, I promise if you hang up now, if you want to hold on, you can. But I'm coming right back after these on B94.9 WATV.
Kelvin told me to tell you what's up. Kelvin told me to tell you what's cracking.
doing the music. I like the little songs. That he uses. I don't know. Hey, we're back in. Welcome back. Let me know if you can hear on the let's see. Something's going on. Can you hear me? Check. Hopefully you can. Comment if you can. Let me know that you're back with us.
I can hear you.
Okay. I didn't do anything different, I don't think, but oh, there it is. Okay. Cool. I'm not doing my job. I was thinking I was tripping.
There we go.
Make sure you're on. Can you hear you?
I cannot hear myself.
There you go.
I can now.
Yeah, because you
Hey, look at me. Listen to me. I can hear myself. That's great.
Welcome back in, guys. It's Woo and Chuck.
What's cracking?
Yeah, everything is cracking. We're talking about us, and that's just the easiest way to put it. When you talk about politics and government and the process and voting being necessary, we are not really. What is that? Let me see. I hear something in the background. Who is that interrupting? Let's close all that out. I still hear it. What is that?
It's a commercial. It's not an advertisement. Sounds like
strange. Oh, boom. Gotcha. Okay, now that we're back. So yes, everything is good. Everything is everything. We're talking about us. We're talking about the political process, how people have changed, and why we are not. We walk around with our heads just, I don't know, full of stress for sure. People are really going through a lot, and I know that takes up a lot of space. But it's all. I mean, life has always been multifaceted. There's always been a lot going on, but it seems as if these days people are not concerned about anything but themselves, and not in a way that they want to see change or see something happen, but just concerned in a way that as long as I got what I need, I'm good. Period.
That's fair.
I mean, that's it. Like, I don't have time to volunteer. I ain't trying to go pass out. No, I don't know. I ain't got time for that.
Teamwork make the dream work, though.
I don't want to be on no team. I don't know them folk.
Well, your dreams might not work then. Hey, let me say this too, to the person who was talking earlier.
Yeah.
Like, I would encourage everybody to do this, right? Mm-hmm. Just because you vote for somebody and they don't fulfill all your expectations, that's not a reason to like stop voting for people in general. Like, people disappoint people all the time, but look, man, it's a whole bunch of people that died for Black folks to be able to, for everybody, but us specifically, more recently, for us to be able to have the right to vote. So, man, y'all should exercise that joint.
Right. And the personal disdain, like when people say that they don't like people, and this is something I hear often, like I have friendships with people who are in office that may not have gotten my vote because I didn't like how they lined up politically, but I supported this other person. We're still cool though. Come on up and sit down.
Right.
So that happens sometimes. And then sometimes there are people who I support and actually work with, and they get in office and forget that I exist. All of this has happened, but it's not, I don't take it personal until it's personal.
Right.
So I'm not going to dislike you, Chuck. You get in and you do your job or whatever you're doing, and in my favor, it may not be. Now, if you're just wrong, I may not like you. I may fight you.
But as long as I'm doing my job, right? Like,
and it makes sense. Like, okay, I see how we got to this point. Cool.
Right.
Or if you didn't choose me for the gig or for the speaking engagement, and you got somebody a little bit more qualified or somebody that can speak more to this, I'm not mad about that.
Right.
But I see people really be mad and like getting into people's personal business and talking about them like that because of politics.
Right. And it shouldn't be that way. Right. Like if you are a servant leader, if you are an elected person, or if you're in a position to help people, I feel like you should. Now, just because, and like, look, if you Ronaldo from down the block and I help everybody else, but I haven't gotten to you yet, just because I helped everybody else, don't mean I ain't gonna get to you. Don't kill me over it. I'm coming. Give me some time. All
right. So the political process, throughout this whole thing, we've been hearing all of these different sayings. Like, you have to really be at home or really be like super totally submerged and just deep in the tank to hear these things on a regular basis. The woke mob.
Okay.
Which first dropped in like 1962 in the New York Times.
Okay.
Actually, it was an essay. Then the left. The establishment.
Yeah. I hate labels. I do.
The cancel culture.
Yeah.
Then these terms. Pivoting. You got to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know how to pivot. Philanthropy, diversity, economic fairness, volunteering, abortion rights, climate control, mobilizing, donating. You hear these things so much in November, but outside of November, do we pay attention to any of them? Do we know what they mean? Are we involved in any of them? And one that I want to speak to before we go back to the phone lines is the donating to candidates.
Okay.
Now, I ain't giving $5 to Joe Biden because he sent me a letter with an envelope. They don't need my money. That's what people say, right?
They do need your money.
They don't need my money. He rich.
Okay, they still need. Look, man, trust me, I know running for office. Okay. Running for office is tough, man. And there are times in which people get elected and they forget where they came from. That's true. But it is hard to put your life under a microscope, and that's really what it is. And it's hard to be out there. There's certain things when you out and about, like you're a candidate, things you can't really do. You can't really tell people how you feel sometimes about them because like you don't know who they know or whatever. You always got to be on. And but holding yourself out for public service, I mean, that's a decision, that's a decision. So I feel like a majority of the people do it for the right reasons. I still feel like that minority, they might do it for the right reasons, but then get caught up in some other things sometimes. Those are my thoughts. Okay. I agree. I do agree. Let's go to the phone lines again. I don't like to keep people waiting. Caller, you're in with Vital in the thing.
Yeah, I didn't want to hold you up, but I want to thank the young man because what he said makes excellent sense. You still have to vote. You have to encourage other people to vote. And I have nothing against having fun. But I want to ask you a question, Will. Mm-hmm. When it takes a majority on any board or agency or elected officials, it usually takes a majority to vote on an issue that would affect the citizens. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you got a blanketed majority of people that look like you and supposed to represent you, and all their votes for decades have been to do things to hurt you, mm-hmm. Why is it so hard to make people understand that because you like those people, that they're not voting in your best interest, in our best interest to get rid of them?
Okay.
That makes sense to you?
It does. Why don't people understand that, hey, this is my cousin, because but my cousin is horrible at their job?
One last thing. Because they have not been educated to the fact that political enlightenment helps enlighten a better world and community for yourself, because everything hinders on a vote that affects your very life.
Yes.
100%.
Thank you. I hang up.
All right. Thank you.
You could have kept talking.
See, that's think tank right there. I hang up. I said what I said. Thank you for that call. Hey, they said that theme song is still playing. I like it. I'm going to keep it playing. We'll let it ride out. Then when you call in, I'll bring it down. All right. So more
Look comments. At you, crescendo and decrescendo.
You feel me? So listen.
I got a little education.
You do. Mr. Stanley says, I think that it's wrong for people running for office to make promises about what they are going to do when elected. It's not just that easy to get things passed when others have their own agendas. Now, but what would I say when I'm running though? Would I say like
I ain't gonna do nothing? Because so and my man makes a good point, right? Because that's sort of the issue.
Yeah.
Like, and so the caller made a good point too. It takes you can't a lot of times you can't get things passed by yourself. So like you can try, but if you can't get people on board, that doesn't mean like this person failed you. They just failed to be able to bring other people to the table to get whatever passed that they need to get passed, right? So they still mean well. They're still putting forth the effort, but sometimes your efforts get stalled by other people. Especially when you're talking about statewide stuff, like, Democrats, Republicans, like you got a small amount of independents, but like it's sometimes difficult to like cross the aisle and work with other people. Bipartisanship, right?
Yeah. And we have to keep that in mind.
It's unfortunate, but
it's just like, I think one thing that we used to be able to relate to and compare different organizational structures to is the church. Most people use the church or understand it better from a church perspective where, some members want to do this, other members want to do this. So we got to vote on this. And then y'all fall out and go to another church or start another church.
Start a whole new church.
Start another church. And you have the same struggles because you still have people and personalities. But with politics, it shouldn't be a lot of room for personalities, and it should be more about what's right for the people. But it's because it's people, it's always going to end up being those same issues of personality
and money
and profit.
Right. Special interest groups, right? So like,
going.
people,
politics,
alliteration. Look at that.
I like those.
Okay. Pushing P.
Yes. Yes. People, personality, profit equals politics.
There we go. I mean, yeah. But people also understand like it takes money to run, right? And it takes money to, do get things done. So when you got these special interest groups that are behind you, you sort of have to, you were put in office by the people, but that money, it's hard to say no to that for certain people in certain positions.
So, and I want to pose this question to everybody. My mind always goes to former Mayor Larry Langford when I think about that type of situation where I'm somebody who is actually serving. You see what I'm doing. I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, and you see it. You see my works, and then somebody offers me some gifts, some suit or whatever it may be. Like I don't know how that went down, how much it will. I don't know. Like that's not the point that I'm making. That's not why I'm mentioning it. I am bringing that up because I want to know. I want everybody to take a moment to be 100% honest with themselves. If you're in a position to receive a gift for services that you've done, like somebody's really just showing you gratitude, like, hey, Chuck, thank you so much for what you've done. I got this whole, you can get whatever you want out of here. It's like red bottoms. It's envelopes with big money in. It's all types of stuff. And this is for what you've done for us. We really appreciate the work that you've done and who you've been to us. And I just want you to have something nice. I want y'all to tell me you're not going to take it. You're not going to consider.
No, hold on. I'm not. Everybody thinks about it.
Okay.
But if you're an elected official, you just can't. You can't do it. There are ethical rules against it.
It's Christmas.
Okay.
It's my birthday.
My birthday coming around the corner. Scorpio season around the corner. Our time to shine.
Still Libra season. And if somebody brings me a Libra balloon or sends me a gift card to somewhere really expensive, I can't take it.
If you're an elected official?
Yeah.
Nope. You should not. Because you never wanted to, it's a hard thing that's why, again, I tell people when you run for office and you get in office, that's a sacrifice. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that you just can't do. There's a lot of things you just can't take.
But then folk be mad at you when you just can't do what they want you to do.
That's also true.
But y'all make way more money than I make as an elected official doing whatever you do, but you want me to do this right now. And if not, you're going to talk about me, talk about my sexuality, talk about my mama. talk about my mama. Talk about my shoes on the flyer.
Right.
Like, dang, can't win for losing. All right, so I'm just wondering, what would you all do? Like, we really talk a lot about that. We get more into the messiness of the politics as opposed to the actual policies and what, how we're affected by it. We want the mess. We want the drama.
Right.
And I just wonder, what would you do? Who pulls up and says, hey, I got you a Rolls Royce and you just got to come pick it up. We appreciate you.
Thanks. Give it to somebody less fortunate.
What?
So somebody in my day job gave me a pie. This is a real story. Can't make this up. Okay. Gave me a pie. And I was like, number one, I don't eat that type of pie. But
okay.
Whatever. But so I took pie and just gave it to the people at my day job. Mm-hmm. It was sort of like a pass-through. So I didn't take any benefit from it other than I was a conduit.
But damn, a pie. You really can't take that.
So either? When I was a long time ago, I think I was running for, when I was running for office, right? A long time ago, I was somewhere and I won a raffle.
Okay.
It was $100. And so I took the $100 and donated it to the organization that I was there for. Cause I don't think you should do that.
That is so nice.
It's just me.
That is just you.
I also don't want to go to jail. So
that is really, but that's nice. That is really a for the people service geared thought process.
And the only reason I mentioned that story is because like 10 people told me about it and 4 of them weren't even there. So they heard about it. And I was like, because I ain't think nothing of it. I was just like, it seemed natural to me. I'm just going to get this right back to y'all.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. I'm just wondering what you all would do, because we really do put these politicians and political figures and even celebrities in a different, they are people too.
Yeah.
So to make the statement about politicians being disconnected from the people and how they disconnect and aren't involved with the people anymore, they are people. We are people.
And sometimes people don't really, I'm gonna keep hammering this. Sometimes people don't know what other people are doing. They might be out here working behind the scenes to try to get something passed or get something that works, and it just might take some time. I guarantee you, 100%, not 100% of the naysayers, but a lot of the people, I keep going back to the stadium. People have been killing the mayor about the stadium, but that number is shrinking because I think they are now starting to see, they didn't understand it immediately. Sometimes the impact and import of things, it takes time to get out there, right?
Yeah.
So I think now, I think the number is smaller. The detractors are smaller. Not saying they're not still out there, but I think it's just a smaller amount. Because I think they see the benefit. At first, like I said, it just takes some time for you to sort of understand and like how this economics. So like if you got Garth Brooks coming here and you got all these people coming here, like that is going to impact businesses. That's going to impact like the bottom line, taxes, all that kind of stuff. Right. So, and then all that money gets trickled out. It takes some time.
Trickled out.
But
so
a lot of
people
the
trickles though. I don't want no damn trickles. Run it.
Well, I mean,
I want the bag.
I'm sorry, you're gonna get the money. I'll just say it that way. It's just gonna take some time.
I want to talk about that too. Let's go to the phone lines first though. Caller, you're in the think tank with Vital. What's your comment, question? Thoughts?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Good.
You know, the first law of everything is self-preservation.
Yes.
So people are going to choose the candidate based on who or what suits them. You know, some people say there's no such thing as a black Republican. Well, not every black person is lower income, middle class. So they're going to vote for the individual that best suits them. That's what makes our democracy so great. Furthermore, on top of that, I understand the mayor's plan as far as bringing the stadium here, because basically what he did, it was more or less as an investment. Overall, it was an economic investment that's going to bring more money. So you spend the $90 million on this end, but over a period of 5 years, I don't know the numbers, you bring in, let's say, $50 million. You see what I'm saying? But that's going to be renewable, so that's for decades. You know, on in where you're going to recoup not only the 90 million, but that's until it finishes. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And as far as money talks, okay, you can say, well, everyone has a voice. And no, everyone does have a voice. But generally, those with the money, their voice speaks a little bit louder. Okay, so in order for your voice to truly be heard and to sift through, I guess, the loud noise of everyone else, we as a people, and I'm going to say black people, need to understand our economic strength and put our monies together and start funding some of these political action groups. Okay? You want your voice to be heard? Hey, we're donating $20,000 to your campaign. Hey, don't forget about us. Now you can call it, we're going to call it, and no one likes to use the term, we're going to call it legal bribery. Call it what you want. I know you want to stay away from the B word, but call it what it is.
Okay.
Okay. Legal bribery. Okay. Then you have another, well, we have $100,000 pack that represents the entire neighborhood of Invades. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, how much do you want to bet that $100,000 from the political action pact of Invades is going to be heard over, let's say, the 10,000 of West End? Who's going to get more attention?
Right.
Okay.
Who's the politician more likely to keep his promise to? I mean, you have to appeal to human nature, and let's be honest. I mean, let's just be honest about it. You're going to go with the one that's going to fund your campaign, or you're going to go with the one with the same, I have a dream speech, let's march. And I'm not knocking that. There's a time and place for that. But it's about it all boils down to economics.
Perfect. It all boils down to economics. So thank you for that comment. He said a lot there. One of the things he said was about funding these PACs and these campaigns and these small organizations who do the work. Shouts out to Woke Vote. I was really hoping to be able to get somebody on today to be able to give us some perspective from that generational aspect of voting and why people are so apathetic, or what's happening, or are people really involved? Maybe we're missing it because we just don't see it out the window, but maybe they know. But we'll get them in on Vital. When I think about funding campaigns and what that looks like, you see the commercials that you see and hear the commercials that you hear on certain places at certain times because of certain budgets. So if you don't give and don't support these candidates who you really believe in, we've had Will Boyd on. We're looking at a Democratic Black female gubernatorial candidate. Even in local elections, mayoral elections, they have to have money. And if we're not giving into those causes, you won't have a yard sign. You won't have buttons. You won't know of these people and say, well, I ain't never heard of them. Of course you haven't, because you know your friends don't give money to them.
So what he was just talking about, the 100,000 versus the 10,000. The best, I hate the word politician, but the best politician is able to fulfill the wishes of both.
Okay.
You know, so like just because this person gave less money or is a smaller constituent or smaller monetarily constituent, you should be able to figure out a middle of the road to be able to satisfy everybody.
So somebody just said to you, my dear sir. When you said
the
number was shrinking with the people that were against the thing. What is it? The stadium. That number is shrinking because the decision is done. So what can I say at this point? I kind of agree with that.
Just wait, because like my man just said though, like it's the long game. Like this is going to inure to the benefit of the entire city over time. Okay. You don't, again, Snap Your Fingers is just a song. It's a catchy song. Like you just can't snap your fingers and do a stare. Like anyway.
You can do it all by yourself, but no, you can't.
Hey.
But no, you cannot. Hey, this is another one. So we pay $3 million note per something, then pay out $5 million to World Games. Where's the profit when the BJCC keeps the tax revenue?
The BJCC is a complicated entity. That's fair.
Because it's like private, right?
Well, we don't own it. The city doesn't own it. So that's why it's the Birmingham Jefferson County complex.
Everybody.
Right. So, but I think, so, all right. This has always been my thought. And there are people, one who I just told you, asked about you, who is we have completely different opinions about this.
We do too.
So with the World Games, right? I am a pre and post Olympics Atlantean. Okay. All right. And even Goody Mob, I think it was Cujo, had that line, crooked, I can't say that word on air. Jackson got the whole country thinking that my city is the big lick for 96. Like they were against the Olympics. Atlanta today, that all y'all love. I wish Dave was here. That all y'all love. two CDs down the road. Atlanta today is not Atlanta without the Olympics. It's just not. Atlanta ain't got 7 million people if the Olympics don't come there. They might have 4 still. So my thing with because all the infrastructure and all the
it was the whole Olympics though, not just the World Games.
Fair. Yeah. But this is my hope. Now I don't know if this is going to happen, but this is my hope. World Games wise, right? The spotlight was on the city of Birmingham, and I do think that there are. And we don't even know businesses, entities, corporations, or whatever that may now have a particular interest in Birmingham that they didn't know about because some of their athletes or ambassadors or whatever were here. Property taxes are low here. Cost of living is low here. You got a workforce that's here.
Right.
So like there are companies that I feel like there's going to be more money and more infrastructure and more companies coming to the city of Birmingham because of because
they saw it.
Well, because they were also here.
Oh.
I hope that. That's my hope.
I didn't mean to say like that.
I'm looking at you. I see your face. Fix your face.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why. We got about 4 minutes in this segment. And then when I come back, I really want to dive into this. So you were in Atlanta in school
right
before the Olympics and then after.
Yes.
All right. So as a college student before the Olympics, did it matter to you that the Olympics were coming to Atlanta? Was that like a big thing or no?
It was cool.
It was cool, right?
Well, but that was also because basketball was going to be at Morehouse. So I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
I mean, you asked me a question.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
Okay. So then after you saw everything and now looking back at Atlanta, what are your thoughts? What you just said, or is it something different?
Atlanta's not my favorite city.
Okay.
I like the old Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta is displaced.
Oh, I can't wait to talk about it.
Oh, I think that Atlanta is a displaced northern city in the South, and it's got manufactured character. That's my
opinion.
My
goodness.
But Atlanta's still a good time. I would never move to Atlanta.
I agree.
But if I had never left Atlanta, I'd have a lot of money. I'll tell you that. Real talk.
So before we get into this second part, the second hour, talking about Birmingham, I was in Atlanta this weekend, went over to do some of my October festivities. This all month that I do this.
Like Oktoberfest? Like the beer?
Like fest in October.
I thought you were drinking like German beer. Oktoberfest.
No, October is my month and I do it the whole month, every weekend, every day. It's a celebration. So this particular weekend, I went to Atlanta and I had not socialized, like partied and been out in the city as an adult, period. Like I went in college, you go to Atlanta, you do the basic stuff. You go to Lennox, you go to Six Flags, you go to your family house and you go to the underground. Okay. Notice some things, and the definition that you just gave for it is absolutely perfect. You said it's a manufacturer. What did
I think
you
it's
say?
A displaced northern city in the South with manufactured character.
Man, write that down.
I don't have to. I say it all the time.
I love it. You need to put it somewhere. That's great. That's exactly what it is. I felt like I was in a mock New York. Y'all know I love me some New York, and I'm scouting New York. But like, I did not feel the same way about Atlanta because I did feel that it was manufactured. But let me tell you what happened. I went to a brunch because brunch is the thing. Everybody wants to go to brunch.
Oh yeah.
So you want to go to brunch in Atlanta because you watch these Instagram videos, you see the culture, you see the people, it's a vibe, it's boom. I'm like, this is me, let's go. I get there, and before I even get out of my car, before I even park my car, I drive there, and the driving was annoying me. That's the first part. It was, I want to use another word. It was getting on my nerves. And then once I finally got where I was going, I turned in this parking lot thinking that I'm going to this place, so I should be able to park at this place. They didn't say, hey, ma'am, how are you? Welcome to so-and-so, so-and-so. Dude said, hey, you going in here? I was like, yeah. He's like, it's $20 to park here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said,
it's
what?
big business. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Okay, so that's the first thing that happened. There were a couple of other things that happened that were really questionable for the time that I was having. Like, I'm having a good time, but I'm not having a time that's worth what you all are asking of me.
Right.
So my mind goes to thinking about my dear home, Birmingham. And I said, you know what? I can't see any of this making sense in Birmingham. I can really see people having a whole situation, a whole problem about any of the things that I'm experiencing. They're not going to pay to park because we already don't use the little thing where you got to scan your phone or whatever.
Get your car towed then. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't learn.
Yeah, it's not happening. And
that 160 hurt.
Man, like, where's my vehicle? Baby, they moved it because you parked illegally. But when they tell you $20 off top, like, you already know. So if your budget is set that you're going to go out and you're going to spend $100 just to go out, but then you got to think about parking every time you park somewhere in this city. Can you imagine that culture coming here to Birmingham and us really trying to be that manufactured energy that we think that we should have? We think we deserve to be the best, right? We are the magic city, but I don't know that we're willing to foot the bill of what a magic city really has.
It's coming a little bit. Like that, those days, it's coming a little bit.
But think tankers, I'm just basically what I'm saying is, like, y'all gonna be against it. Is it gonna be a 4 to 6 o'clock every week of people talking about, I ain't never going down there again. I ain't paying for that. I don't understand why we had to pay. I don't know why.
Well, that's why I walk everywhere, but I'm different.
Jeez, I just cannot see it here. So let me see. We already got some comments coming in, but I'm gonna save the rest of them. I'm gonna start.
Can I say something real quick about the long game?
For sure.
All right. So, because I guess the stadium is always a hot, like a whatever. All right, fine. Let me dumb it down for y'all. Or not, that's the wrong phrase. But let me take it somewhere else.
Yeah, take it there.
Amazon is in Bessemer now. Do y'all know why Amazon is in Bessemer? Because Mayor Bell had this big idea where he put Amazon boxes on certain street corners downtown Birmingham years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. People laughed at him, said, oh, this is a joke. Why are you spending this money? Blah, 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 blah. Years later, Amazon is here. Sometimes you have to think big and play the long game. Play the long game.
When we come back, we're going to get more into this conversation. Birmingham will never, never be Atlanta, is what Mr. Fred said. I'm going to leave that comment posted. And we come back, we're going to pick up on this conversation. I know you're at home and you love being here, but I think it could be better. But I don't know that we'll have the support and participation that we need. That's just my thought. We'll talk about it when we come back. Second hour of the Think Tank coming up in just a few. think it's this one. Yeah, so we're back on social media as well. If you're watching and listening, we're back. We're back and we're back. And we're going to the phone line. So let's go. Hey, you're in with Vital in the Think Tank. What's your comment, question, thoughts, feelings? Turn your radio down.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good
Can you hear me
afternoon.
okay?
We can.
Okay, I think what it is a lot of this apathy, and it's apathy is nothing that's been going on for many decades. And what has happened is that the public trust has been thoroughly violated. And every time you turn around, there's been scandals and scams and crooks and criminality going on. People just giving up because they don't see any immediate result of their hard-earned vote. I can remember back in the day. When I say back in the day, I remember the late 90s, early 2000s in Birmingham. What you did was you watched Jerry Springer, you watched the Tuesday Night Wrestling, and you watched the Birmingham City Council proceedings to see what Bell and Kincaid and all of them were going to throw jabs or, insults at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy hours, so you learn to lose respect for it. Now, the older generation, they knew the power of the vote and everything. So they marched and got churches blown up and burned down and so forth. So they understood the power of the vote. However, a lot of us just were not politically inclined and politically educated. And as the decades went by, okay, well, we got a black person in office, a black mayor, city council, all that stuff. It just got complacent. And you can go back to Outkast's first CD. He said, why should I get out and vote? Ain't nobody black running, but, Saltine.
Well, I got to register. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So it was a generational divide.
Yeah.
And the apathy is going on generation after generation, a decade after decade. So unfortunately, it's going to take something real drastic, like something very dear to you, taken away from you. And unfortunately, by then, it's going to be too late. We have to be politically educated. We have to be economically and financially educated because we're not used to dealing in big numbers, $90 million arenas and stadiums and things of that nature. And we deal mainly with instant gratification. We don't deal with generational disbursement of wealth and how that stadium is going to change everything for the generations to come. And we're starting to see the payout grow immensely.
Right.
So we people have to be woven into the fabric of the city. And unfortunately, we often feel ostracized. That's why he's saying, why should I get out and vote? Well, somebody needs to teach them and tell them how.
Okay.
And this is my little 2 cents. And thank you for taking my call. You're sounding great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Maybe you'll call back in because I'm going to ask you how we going to teach them.
We got
what else we going to do?
2 Dungeon Family quotes in one segment.
It's probably going to be smart. So it's the
My
whole.
mama tell me that I can get out and vote. Ain't nobody black running, but why I got to register? Thinking better things to do with my time.
But even to that, so lyrics are true stories.
Hold on, but it's weird though. I guarantee you ask Andre now, I guarantee you tell you vote.
A different situation. So maturity brought that about.
I got a controversial take that
okay.
always gets me in trouble. For the city of Birmingham, the best and the worst thing that happened in the city of Birmingham was the civil rights movement. 100%. Best and worst thing. Right? Best thing because we're the birthplace of civil rights, all that. Worst thing because we still I think Birmingham is always still like, you got to embrace that, but we can't just be that, right? That's part one. Part two, I think part of the problem is, because he used apathy earlier, right? So I think there's not a movement. Like we ain't unified behind nothing anymore. Like when all black people came together, you got the Montgomery bus boycott, you got all that kind of stuff. Is because we all as a people were unified for one thing. We were trying to get this one thing. And so that's why I always tell people, like, I get annoyed when I hear these children talking about I ain't voting because it don't matter. Man, your grandmama got spit on, beat on, water hoses. People died for this, and you just gonna throw it away? Like, come on, fam.
Let me say to the other side of that, though, the children that say that, their grandmother said that. Children who.
Well, I'm not talking about children having children. I'm talking about like their great grandmothers.
Their great grandmothers said the same thing.
They said what?
I'm not marching. No, because there were people who still didn't participate even then.
But that was out of fear. But not
ignorance.
No, I don't think it was out of ignorance. If you look at black people's voting numbers, like percentage, back then it was way more. Everybody vote.
I just don't believe. So I want to be real about it. Like I want to be 100% fair in the fact that my great grandma probably saw Miss Suzelle. That
Suzelle is a wild name.
I put my grandma's name with somebody else's name. I don't even know who else. Sorry.
That's
Okay. Suzelle, if you listening, whoever you may be, sorry.
No offense.
Okay. Ain't nobody named Suzelle. But my great grandmother was a part of organizations that fought for rights and freedom and equality and whatever they fought for. They fought for democracy. And I'm quite sure there was somebody in the church that didn't do nothing. Nothing.
Sure.
Probably a sweet lady now.
Sure.
Wanted the benefits.
Had stockings on and everything.
Yeah.
Had
peppermint in her purse. All that.
Got the same seat every Sunday.
Always there with
Always
all her
there.
children. But guess what she didn't do?
What?
Vote.
She probably did vote. She probably just went part of
not.
it. I don't know, man. The numbers were so much higher back then.
Call in if your great grandma didn't vote.
Don't use your name. No.
I'm just saying, like, good things are taught and repeated. So are negative things. So, like, this attitude didn't just appear. Like, it didn't just happen. Well, you know what? I quit voting when Kanye said that George Bush didn't like black people.
Man, Mr. Red Hat, here we go with that nonsense.
I'm not.
You know he did something crazy today too.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I can.
Yes. I want to treat him. I want him to come to the office so bad. But I really do think that we teach good and we teach bad. We model behavior and it's exemplified.
Do we teach bad or do we do bad? And then that behavior is, I don't know.
It's modeled. We do it. And so that means that we're teaching it. Because if I don't vote and my daughter never, ever hears me say anything about the political process, about philanthropy, about mobilizing, if she never hears any of that.
So a couple things, like, right? So like voting was never an option. Like I've been voting since I was 18. Like I ain't skipped. I've never not voted. Not one single time. Number one. Number two, we talked about this before. I think them not teaching civics in high school. I think high school curriculums are somewhat at play and somewhat to blame because like they're not, I don't know if they're teaching. Do people still have government classes?
Yeah.
They have civics classes.
That I don't know. We'll find out.
So I don't know that in high school people, I mean, because everything is so whitewashed now. I don't mean like the racy. I'm just mean like just across the board. Everybody wants to be.
It's got to be easy.
Got to be easy, but I don't know if people are even teaching people about like the political process anymore in high school. I don't know.
Oh man, 994-8949. You may be a teacher and you're off work now, or you're listening through the app, which we appreciate.
Or you getting your lesson plan? For tomorrow.
Whatever it is that you're doing, or you have a student, or you are a student, and you're in. Oh man, Miss Presswood Davis says that she knows a Suzelle.
We didn't mean nothing by it.
Go. Okay, look, if you're an educator and you know that these things are being taught, hit us up 994-8949.
Yeah, please, because I really do feel that way.
You all are making me skip ahead, but this resource right here, I get it every election, and I was lucky enough to get one on Friday night. I hosted an event over in Woodlawn with Good People Vote called Speak Up.
Hey, shout out to Mashonda Taylor too over at Woodlawn.
I saw Mashonda as well.
Yeah, they're doing good things over there. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad.
What?
Hey, there's a fashion show on Sunday.
This past Sunday?
No, this upcoming Sunday.
The vintage show?
Yes. I was supposed to tell.
Sunday.
No, it is. Trust me, I know for a particular reason because you might know somebody who's in it.
And they told you to tell me?
No, I'm supposed to tell. I told
You're
them.
Supposed to tell the people?
Yes. So, yes. I'm so glad. I was going to forget about this. Listen,
okay.
Everybody, there's a fashion show over in Woodlawn from 2 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vintage fashion show. It's the shop is called the Trespa. And the name of the show is called Diversity. Vintage fashion show showcasing diverse vintage fashions, models, and community from 2 to 5 over in Woodlawn, over the social venture.
Yes. So I went in there Friday as well and met the owner and saw this stuff. I was like, this is so me. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's a small cover, but I think she is lining up a great situation. So y'all go by.
Somebody on the radio might be in the show.
Mm-hmm. Hope they've been practicing that walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while I was over there, Greater Birmingham Ministries does this election guide every election, and it really it's great. So if you don't have a textbook or you're not really trying to Google, I'm gonna try to get my hands on some of these. My mom gave me some voter registration ballots to put out, ballots, voter registration forms. They're here in the lobby as well. So during our business hours, you can stop by and check, get your form or whatever, get the dates. So that stuff is provided to you, but they put together a great resource. It talks about preparing for election day. It tells you how to check your eligibility. It tells you what to do if you're not eligible. It tells you how to plan.
Just because you're a felon.
I mean, look at this.
Just because you're a felon doesn't mean you can't vote. You need to check that out.
And we got some stuff on that too, so we're going to share that as well. This is a real resource, Chuck. Like every election, I use it on the shows because it talks about the roles of the people that are running. Yep. It talks about voting absentee, emergency absentee voting, permanent disability absentee voting, vote absentee by mail. It talks about the Constitution of Alabama, the ratification of that's in here, and the amendments. So we're going to go through those in the second half, the final half of the show tonight. We're going to do this evening. We're going to do that and then kind of tell you about a couple of the candidates. But let's go to the phone lines first. I don't want to keep you waiting. Caller, you're in with Woo and Chuck.
What's cracking?
Happy belated birthday to you.
Oh, how? Thank you.
You about to cry?
But I want to say that.
Birthday.
Yeah, we all love them. but I think all black people need to vote, regardless what their age are. Especially like, I think our numbers are so low when it comes to the midterms.
Yeah.
I think we're in trouble, really. And I'm hoping I'm wrong. And like, I know democracy online, it's on the line, but and I tell younger people, especially ones in Jefferson County, I don't know how they do in other places. Mm-hmm. You want to be on jury duty, and the only way you're going to be on jury duty pretty much is become a voter. And believe me, you want to be on jury duty. You know.
Yeah. Civic duty.
So
Thank
that's
you so
all
much.
I have to say on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller, you're in.
Hey. What up, Woody Woo?
What up, Blue? How you doing?
Man, listen. Man, I'm chilling.
What's up?
Listen, y'all being too easy on the folk, man. Let's be real. Let me speak for Birmingham.
Okay.
The reason people don't vote in Birmingham because the politicians make you feel so important when they run and they come see you, they show up, they speak at all the events. But once they get in office, you don't see them until election time again. And they don't do what they say they're going to do. And they got people who follow him or her, let me say that.
Yeah.
Who reap the benefits of their election that would dog you out on social media if you try and hold them accountable. So why should people vote when they are constantly being reminded at every event in Birmingham that if you're not in the who's who, you are literally a nobody?
Well, then you vote those
So what I'm gonna vote for?
Then you vote for somebody
else.
No,
that's too easy too. Why waste my time?
Why waste my
time? Because I'm saying. See, you thinking how you think. Mm-hmm. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna fix the problem. You thinking how you were raised. That's not gonna fix the problem. When you've been oppressed, when you've been poor, when you never had none, and the second you feel like something, and then you get reminded that you're not gonna waste your time again. You don't want to be hurt again. You don't want to be lied to again. And everybody doesn't have that desire. Everybody doesn't have an eagerness to go back and get the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And so to blame it on parents that they want to talk, no, I believe that people grow up and see for themselves. These folks have a history of not caring about you. So maybe instead of putting it on the household, we need to hold the people who are voted in responsible and accountable for what they say they're going to do.
Okay. So is it one way holding people accountable, voting them out of office?
Again, who going to vote them out? Because the people who actually vote are usually the ones that are reaping the benefit.
This is true. Blue is vital. So he's been a part of the show for some years, up until recently. So that is a different perspective. Like you have to have a worldview perspective, which I think we have, but being realistic as well. We're talking, when you have a talk show, when you have a platform, you're typically talking to people who already get it. There may be a few who will be swayed. And I learned that, I'm not gonna say the hard way, because you kind of know who you're reaching. When I was in the community, in the streets, like super heavy, meeting people and talking to people on a daily basis, we were impacting and changing lives. The pandemic happened, and now people are really. It's almost like the pandemic wiped away a layer of personality and connection in the human race. So now when I go out, it's more of what started this conversation for me. I'm talking to people, but it's like I'm talking to shells of people. I'm encouraging shells of people. But when I'm in other rooms, like Blue just said, when I'm in other rooms where everybody's already reaping the benefits of the work that we're doing, the workers are in a room collectively, and then there's the upper echelon of workers, then there's the middle class workers, and then there are those of us who are on the ground trying to impact in a different way or in a more original way, as opposed to following the.
So what's the answer though? I mean, that's the thing. Like I'm trying to do the mental gymnastics to sort of understand what your boy Blue was talking about. Like I understand everybody got different perspective, but if the power is with the politics and you don't like the people who are in office, if you don't vote, then it's not going to change, right?
Right.
So I don't really understand. I don't know. That's tough.
If I don't vote, the people that are in office will remain in office because the people who do vote for the people that are already in. Boom.
I mean, that's not necessarily true. I mean, look at the last couple of municipal elections.
This is true.
I mean, there's been a lot of change.
It has, and now y'all tired of them, so change it again.
Change it again.
Let's go to the phone lines again. Caller, you're in. What's your comment, question, thoughts, feelings?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello.
My name Kerry.
What's up, Kerry?
They call me Pooh Bear.
What's up, Pooh Bear?
I'm not calling you. I'm gonna call you Kerry. I'm gonna call you Kerry.
I'll call you Pooh Bear.
Okay.
Chuck gonna call you Kerry.
I'm 54 years old. I'm 54. I've been living in Birmingham all my life, and I got something to say.
Say it.
Listen, what's up with the man? These roads, man. These roads raggedy. I'm talking about I'm talking about he's been off for 6 years. I'm talking about hey, I thought we had a gas tax. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Look, I drive a concrete truck. Okay, all right. I've been in towns where they didn't fix their roads twice already. Birmingham haven't done anything.
Anything.
What's the problem? Anything.
Hold on. I can tell you for a fact they're working on the west side now. They just got like $75,000 for one strip.
It's going to different places. I know.
They're doing Jefferson Ave too. I think. Birmingham a big city, right?
It's the main
thoroughfare first.
Yeah,
but I'm talking hold up, I didn't mean to cut you out, but North Birmingham, where the precinct at, down there, that road that comes from Terrence City into Birmingham, the back way, up on that train truss, you got tracks coming out of the ground. The school bus got to tiptoe over there, so they won't bust a tire. That come on now.
Y'all call 311 and voice your concerns with the city, but I do think they are working on roads. They just might not have gotten to that road yet.
311. And then it's probably every road. I mean, so many roads.
Trust me, I know.
Thank you for that call, Kerry. I thought
but you're right though.
I thought he was about to rap.
A lot of people. I mean, that's people. It's weird. The mayor and city council, like they're the CEO of the city, right? And they're responsible for so much. But the biggest complaints are roads and yards not getting cut.
And see, in my mind, I'm thinking that's okay. The road raggedy. If I ever have an issue with that, I'm gonna speak on that too. But when I'm thinking worldwide perspective, it's like the mindset be so small. So I
not saying roads are important. We're not saying that's small.
Oh no, I ain't saying that. But I am saying that I thrive off of when I'm in other places. I love home. I love the people here. I love the comfort of home. But I love I love to see and experience people with broader. I'm more open minded about things. I'm more open minded about development and being uncomfortable during growth. Growth is uncomfortable, but I think in other cities you may hear these conversations, but you don't hear them as I'm not involved. Okay, so let me look at it or say it this way. I look at it from several different aspects. When I go other places, I look at transportation.
Yep.
I look at parking and convenience. I look at even the energy of the people. That's the first thing I'm trying to feel. Like, are these people happy? Are they sad? What's going on with the mindset of the people in the place? Some cities I see a lot of apathy. Other cities I see a lot of energy and proactive. Just I want to be here. I feel this. Birmingham, I get a lot of complaining, and I ain't lying. I don't care what room I'm in. It's complaining. I like solution focused conversation, and I know that in order to get to solutions, you have to think, you have to talk, you have to share, you have to express. But if all we end up talking about is the roads and protective stadium, I want to talk about some more stuff. It's so much more to education, leadership, people,
education,
mental health. Why folk don't go to church on Sundays no more? Don't nobody be at church nowhere. Is that a part of the problem?
The black church is dying anyway.
Oh my goodness. Why children that are school age don't be at school? Like, I want to talk about stuff like that too. Let's talk. It's so much more to talk. Why is the family so broken? Why I can't sit at the table and have a conversation with my relatives and laugh without the elephant in the room being somebody's mental health? I want to talk about those things. I want to talk about the new shoes Chuck got on. I want to talk about
I don't have
the new bar. that people can go to and socialize. I want to talk about events. I want to talk about life and how full it is. But no, we rather argue and complain about what politics isn't doing. But then we don't vote. So okay.
Right.
Coming up, Fast 5 is coming up, but coming up
already?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I mean, we got a whole nother half, but I'm just saying. Terry said they had brunch on Sunday. I ain't gonna lie, I was at brunch on Sunday too.
They are brunch on Sunday.
But I still like.
Hey man, the black church was dying anyway, as a construct. But
yeah.
The pandemic, God
killed
bless.
it. Killed it. But that provided a lot of structure. A lot of learning happened in church. You talk, politics and stuff like that. Okay, so back to the whole thing about Atlanta and parking. Then we're gonna tie all of this together. $20 to park just to go into the restaurant for brunch, Terry White. I was just trying to go kick it for brunch and take some Instagram pictures. And before I could even get in the parking space, good dude was like $20 to park here. Hey, you going in the venue? I said, yeah. He was like $20. I was like, nope, not interested. I left. I went to another spot, didn't pay to park. But then at that spot, it was a 20% gratuity added on my bottomless mimosas. So my ticket was like double. It was double, but I didn't mind that because you're in a parking lot of this venue that you rent and you're already going to get this money from me. I was thinking to myself.
Well, hold on. Remember, sometimes different like the brunch spot you were going to might not own the parking lot.
Okay.
Parking lot might be owned by somebody else. So that's just, I mean,
it's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
But the whole tone of that event, like y'all outside in the front already kind of like running like a Miami nightclub, and it's 12 o'clock on a Sunday. Anyway, that happened. But my mind went straight to, would this work at home?
If the city, maybe 20 years from now.
Maybe 20 years from now,
10, 20.
When nothing matters. So like right now, how we're talking about people not standing up for political action, 20 years, it ain't gonna be about nothing but money and a good time.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, Atlanta can get away with that for a lot of different reasons. So entertainment industry, the sports industry.
Yeah.
Like people.
There was a big game going on, but they weren't over there though.
Birmingham we getting there.
Do we want to get there? I want to hear that too. Do we want to get there?
Birmingham will never, Birmingham will never be Atlanta. And so let that go. That ship sailed. Airport, Coca-Cola.
True.
The fact that one of the things people don't talk about, we're not on the Eastern time zone. I mean, it's also part of the reason.
That had something to do with it?
100%. Because the Eastern Seaboard, like New York and all that. So Atlanta's on Eastern time. That's also that is also one of the reasons we did not get Delta. We didn't get the international airport back then.
I can get that.
And people don't talk about that part. Like it's just, anyway.
So Blue, I see your comment as well about growing up in a structured home. 2 + 2 = 4. Okay, so he's kind of referring to Chuck that 2 + 2 = 4 in your world, but I gave him something valuable, and his response is, I don't understand. So
no, no. But I'm not shutting it down. I'm just trying to think through it.
Right. I come from the same type of structure, but that doesn't mean that I hadn't seen situations that I'd be like, man, I ain't going.
Right.
Or I'm not doing it, or I'm not interested. I tell my parents in a minute, that's y'all. I ain't interested in that.
So Blue, like I ain't trying to shut you down. Like I'm not closed-minded about anything. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if based on what you said, if those are the people and you feel like those people don't serve the interest, if those elected officials don't serve the interest of the people, I don't know. If you're saying the answer is not to vote, then they're just going to stay there. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
Like what could the answer be?
Like, right. I ain't shutting it down. Like,
yeah.
I listen to everybody. I just trying to figure it out.
For sure. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Mr. Young Jr. says that the black church is dying because they don't provide productive activities for youth.
I mean, it's a lot of reasons.
It's multifaceted, right?
Yeah, that's it. Hey, listen, I tell people that's one ingredient in the gumbo.
That's one, and I think that's one minor one. I think that just like politics, people look for something that they're not. They want something that they're not willing to put the work in for. I'm willing to come here, but I need to leave with a blessing. I just need to leave with something. I ain't bringing none. I need to leave with something now.
Older generations rely on the Bible more than older black generations. White folks too, to a degree. Right.
Mm-hmm,
but like older black people, I mean, that's where the old, during slavery times, the spirituals and all that, like, so like that comes down generational. And I think the younger generation has sort of gotten away from that. Like, it's just, it's different. Like church, who's in black churches? Old folks, for real. Like the church I go to, like there is a dichotomy, or there's an age gap. Mm-hmm. Like you might have some kids there, but that's because they're there with their grandmama. Or they, whatever. But like a majority of people are just older. It's just so weird, man.
And then other than that, Terry was like socializing has become the thing. Like The pandemic did do that. We were ready to get back out, but out didn't mean going to church. That wasn't the first place we wanted to go. The first place I wanted to go was somewhere to socialize, like where I can kick it and just be free. People don't feel like they can be free in church. And this conversation is everywhere, but this is us. This is where we are. This is kind of what government plays a part into. I got a text message earlier. This is just like how government ties into everything, even to this part. October is Pastors Appreciation Month. The government says that pastors can't have pastor celebrations to get gifts. So like a pastor's love day or a pastor's anniversary.
Since when?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know some preachers riding around some fancy cars, got some fancy
like you got
houses.
A gift
like
from somewhere.
You got them somewhere.
But I mean, you're gonna do what you're gonna do regardless. But that's what the government may say.
I never knew that. I didn't know that.
Yep. Let's take a call. Caller, you're in. We got about a minute. What you got? Hey.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say, Vital, continue to do a good job like you're doing. You're vital in the community. Thank you for filling in for Chris. I wanted to say something about parking. Mm-hmm. The parking would have been $20 to park downtown for an event Friday night. Mm-hmm. And it's usually 8.
Right.
Now, and this is for special events. In the past, it had been 8. I look at it like this: just be fair about what you're going up on. People have already paid to go to the event, and then to get there and find out that it's $20 to park.
Right.
Okay. The next thing I wanted to say, I really agree with what Fred said when he called the first hour of the show about people who represent us. If they aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, you need to do something else if it's not in your best interest. It's that simple. Do something else. Okay. Move them, just like you get a divorce from a husband or a wife. Get that divorce and get somebody else. Everybody who's in political office, they aren't in there for the good of the people. Some are in there for their own cause, like Chuck mentioned earlier. It's a job.
It's a job.
But we need people to represent us and to be fair. The last thing I'm going to say quickly, my husband and I did not agree with the stadium, giving that type of money to that stadium. It's fine to grow and to progress, but you need to make sure that the citizens are not being neglected in that process of that growth.
can hear us on the live too. We were just talking about y'all. That's why I was quieted. Look, every Sunday night, tune in, catch the show. We have these conversations regularly. It's not just a everyday think tank conversation. We're having these conversations on a regular basis all the time, every day. Steve, I know you couldn't hear that part. We were being smart. We're back now. I'm glad you didn't hear that. If you're listening through your radio, shouts out to you too. The phone number to call in is 994-8949, 994-8949. A lot of comments just came in. And I'm going to start with this one because it's long. You know, when you get those long text messages, I skim and then I reply to what I'm going to reply to. Stanley, I think I'm going to post this too so they can read it while I read it. Some, just like Legion Field, and I get it, the stadium is almost 100 years old and it's not up to par with stadiums of today. It was time for a change. Atlanta has had 3 stadiums since Legion Field was built. Now we have a state-of-the-art stadium. Maybe we will be more visible and more viable to other events. Some say that we should have fixed the Legion Field up. Yep. What would that cost have been?
$75 million right now.
Okay. They removed the top deck because it was structurally unsound.
It would cost $75 million to fix Legion Field right now.
$75 million.
And I think that's a low estimate.
Okay.
The last conversation I had with somebody.
Ryan Golden asked, "Where's Chris?" I'm not in that man business like that. He ain't here. I'm here.
You don't like us, Ryan?
My name is Lady Wu.
we not good enough for you, boss?
Baby, come on now. Okay, so Chuck, there are some things that I do want to talk about. We're going to take these calls right here, and then we're going to jump into some facts that you need to know about Election Day from a Vital perspective. Caller, you're in with Vital in the think tank. What's your comment, thoughts, feelings, questions? What you got?
Good evening. Enjoying your show, Mr. Wu and
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chuck.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chuck, sound like you're making a whole lot of excuses for this, the way things is in this city. I've been in this city all my life. I'm 59 years old. And I see a lot of things, even as of today. You know, I know you said like all the other elected officials tell us things take time. Well, in the time that things can take to improve even the neighborhoods, the streets, and I'm not talking about no trash in no neighborhood. I'm talking about decent streets, decent sidewalks, and that look like everybody else. We here it take time. They done built the stadium, redid the freeway, did the arena, did Top Golf. I mean, you can go on and on with all the things that have been done with the same city money that it should take to uplift the community. But they don't do that. And you can't say nothing about all them friends. You can't say, because if you say something, then it's like you attacking them. And then like, nah, it's election time. You know, I know you say people seem like they don't care. Well, you got to give them a reason to. And they got to go over them same potholes, look at them same regular streets on their way to the polls. So you really think, I'm just saying. And even even voting on Saturday. You know, you saw them voted down. Tell me what reason in the world we can't vote on Saturday when we pay taxes 24/7, 365 days a year. But look who they voted it down. What I'm saying, today, the 3 Republicans they voted down.
Right.
In our neighborhood, like just today, they didn't even pick our trash up. Today is the trash pickup day, and I don't want to hear it's a shortage. Well, you got to remember that $460 million they get every year to run your city. It should be somebody that can pick the trash up on the day it's supposed to be picked up.
She snapped. Thank you for that. A lot of points.
Something?
Hold it. Let's get this called in. Yeah. Hey.
Well, I don't want to sound like the old man in the barbershop, but and I'm speaking from two sides of the 21st century.
Come on with it.
And the last time I saw blacks in mass move politically in this city was to elect Richard Arrington. And they put him in office, kept him there almost 20 years, and was just the complacency was just ridiculous. And things will not move forward when they're standing still. Now you fast forward to now, like you were saying, there's other things to talk about other than the protected stadium and the roads in the streets. What about the psychology of the city? And I speak to you as a minister, a young adult minister. I speak to you as an educated person with UAB. I speak to you as an honorably discharged United States Marine. Speak to you as a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. So I speak from different corners of the room. And keep in mind, my mom's 72 years old. She's a little bit older than the previous caller. So I don't want to speak death and doom on these people. But unfortunately, the mindset that has choked this city consistently, it started out good. I don't want to say die off. It's going to have to die away. And when more youthful leadership comes into play, then we're going to see rapid growth in this city. I agree that the situation with the church, which is a microcosm of society, that old mentality is choking it. It's going to have to go away. What we see going on in the schools, it's always going to be a small, minute few that's going to carry the weight and the burdens of the whole. But unfortunately, it's going to take something cataclysmic to really spark people into action.
Okay.
And we have to have a meeting of the minds. You got to have money. There's been nothing in this world that took place without money. Even the man that chiseled stone into a wheel like the Flintstones, he had to pay somebody to do it to get his idea going. So it takes money. This is America, a capitalistic society. Well, be a capitalist then. So we're going to have to become educationally astute in generational wealth and accumulation. You can't give what you don't have. Good.
Thank you so much for that. He spoke from a lot of corners in the room, a lot of different perspectives. I appreciate that. One thing for sure, when you have these different perspectives and you've been in different spaces, you can speak to different experiences. You can say, well, yeah, I saw it. I remember it as a child. I see it as somebody in the church. I see it as somebody that was hurt in the church. I see it as somebody that went to public school. I went to a private school. Like when you are in different spaces and you're exposed, you can speak from more angles than just the one that is dictated to you by either the media or by your family or your immediate circle. So I appreciate those type of responses there. We have about 20 minutes. And in this 20 minutes, we're going to jump into what's happening or some information that you need that I don't know if you've heard it discussed this way because I just got my hands on it. And it really breaks down a lot of information. I'm also going to share it on my social media, watchwoolwork.com. I'm going to share it there on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere. I'm going to share it so that you can see it yourself. But we're going to talk about it tonight. Nicole Hannah-Jones, a New York Times contributor, said that all journalism is activism.
Sure.
My undergraduate degree is in radio, TV broadcasting. Yeah, it's in radio, TV broadcasting. The news was made to inform.
Or to, well, yeah.
To inform. However,
the news was made to control a narrative, but yes.
The news was made to inform.
Okay.
First of all. Secondly, because we didn't want to just be talking heads as far as being broadcasters, we had opinions and feelings too. And we knew that people wanted that, and people would sit around their TVs and radios and watch these deliveries of whatever was presented on a teleprompter. It became activism. So then I'm not reading that. That's not my story. I'm not going to go with that narrative. So then, boom, now we're here tons of years later. So we do impact change. We teach policy. We ignite conversation. We do all of that through media. So Black media matters. So I wanted to put that out there before we get into this part of it, because now it's time for education.
Okay.
So there are a lot of people who have had situations in life that cause them to get felony charges.
Just because you're a felon doesn't mean you can't vote.
Right.
You can get, there are lots of categories. There's too many for me to name. But there are a lot of things that if you got a felony conviction for certain things, you can get your voting rights restored. And so,
and in some cases you haven't lost them. You just,
in some cases you haven't lost them. You just thought that you did.
Right.
So, you know, and that's an untapped portion of the population. Was it Georgia? It was somewhere recently, like, you know, they got some absurd number, 200,000 people registered to vote who thought because they were felons, they were no longer eligible to vote, or they got their voting rights restored. So it's important.
Hey, Will.
I think.
Will, babe, we got 16 minutes. I wish you would have come in 2 hours ago. He wanted you to speak to the last caller. She said some good stuff, and I said it was great. That's that. Thanks, Will.
Wanted me to speak about the last call? The lady?
Yeah, come back Sunday night. Every Sunday night at 7 p.m. We get into it.
All I was going to say real quick is...
Really quick.
All right, really quickly is the one thing I disagree with her about was the freeway or the interstate. Like, that's not the city. That's a state. That's Aldite. That's number one. Number two, people, I think, live in bubbles. I don't think people live in bubbles. So, like, if your street ain't paved, that's what you concerned about, and I get it. But there might be people 2 neighborhoods over who can be like, oh, they finally got to my street. So, like, it just takes some time. Anyway.
I mean, it's just like that comment, though. Figures, change the subject when somebody brings up facts. We've been on here 2 hours.
Bring up facts about, hey, man.
Because we jumped to what we're trying to close with, which is what we're about to do.
I mean, it's a political season, boss. So, like, whoever said that, like, I ain't never run from no conversation.
And you talking about me?
They talking about, come on now. Slow down.
I'm navigating the conversation. Been doing it a long time. All right. So for those who have loved ones, those who may be people that are facing time or have dealt with that, you may not be revoked the right to vote.
Right.
And I don't want you to assume that. I know you said it's categories, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like with these categories, I would think that if it was some type of some people say crimes of sexual deviance and things like that, that your rights have. What are some of the ones that people may assume would keep them from voting where they still can?
Theft of property, some robberies, some assaults.
Meaning that their rights never have been revoked?
No, you can get them back.
Okay, so
there are certain things that you don't have to be pardoned, like get an actual pardon to get your rights restored. Then there's certain things that you do have to be pardoned, like those super heinous crimes, rape, all that kind of stuff. Like you got to get the conviction and the arrest pardoned before you can get your rights restored. These other categories I was talking about, like I said, theft of property, burglary, simple assault, robbery, all that kind of stuff. You can you don't have to be pardoned to get your rights back or the right to vote back.
All right, I have a resource for you. If you have questions, you can contact the Greater Birmingham Ministries at 205-304-0481.
You can just Google it too. I mean,
definitely. You can Google. Most felony convictions, felony drug possession convictions, for example, do not prevent you from registering to vote in Alabama. And that's big, Chuck. Like, that's super big because a lot of the crimes and arrests that we see are drug-based, either trafficking or personal usage, self-medicating, and you get caught up and then you get a felony charge and then boom, now I think I can't vote. Not true. So if you've done these things, you completed your sentence, you finished your parole or probation, paid all fines and fees, don't have any felonies pending, you probably can restore your voting rights and register to vote. And you have until the 24th to do that.
Last day to register, October 24th.
I think one thing about rehabbing and restoring rights is like once I've been in a situation, I have a better appreciation, a deeper appreciation for the processes. And I know that if somebody that looked like me had voted or did or done something different before my time, I wouldn't have to be in this situation.
Or maybe I would have voted for a different judge.
Oh, maybe.
I mean, come
on.
So it kills me when people talk about people always talk about like who I vote for doesn't matter. It does when your local elections matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, y'all love Danny. What happened if y'all didn't vote? Might be somebody else who ain't trying to help nobody.
What about the sheriff's race? That's another situation. People, I mean, like this guy comes up all of a sudden, hadn't seen him, didn't know him, and hadn't done any giveaways, no events. We don't know you. We know the sheriff that we know. But now the sheriff has somebody running against him.
Right.
And Mark Petway is the incumbent. That's who's there. And the Jefferson County Sheriff serves as the chief law enforcement officer for Jefferson County. The sheriff's office oversees patrols throughout Jefferson County outside of municipalities with their own police force. They oversee criminal investigations, provide law enforcement to Jefferson County schools, conduct the only deputy sheriff's training academy in the state, and they oversee both county jails. The sheriff serves a 4-year term and has no term limits.
Right.
So you have one in who is looking at crime and violence reduction programs, changes to the jails, and immigration enforcement.
And if y'all don't think that matters, I mean, I want to talk. I want to meet this blue fellow. I want to have a conversation with that cat because, like, some of these things
that would be great.
Some of these things absolutely matter. Who your DA is matters,
and it affects the people that I know Blue was talking about.
Who your sheriff is matters. Who these judges are that are making decisions. Now, sometimes their hands are tied because of mandatory minimums, all that other kind of stuff. But like the way that they impact, especially Black folks, that matters. And like, in order to get the people in who have your best interest in heart, I feel like you got to vote. I don't know.
We're coming back to the phone lines to close out, but I want to share a couple of these names with you. Circuit Court Judge. The Circuit Court, this right here, I met the young lady that does the book. Her name is Elizabeth. I'm going to get her invited on one night to talk with us. But the Circuit Court is the highest court in the county.
Yes.
Okay. The circuit courts are where jury trials take place. In Jefferson County, there are civil, criminal, domestic, and family divisions. So place 1, the incumbent is Ann Durward.
Yes. She ain't got no opposition, huh?
Nope. Place 4, Jabin Patton.
She ain't got no opposition. Wait, she can't be up right now. 16.
Incumbent?
We
was just talking about the places. Place 11, Brendette Brown Green. So these are names that we know. They're people that we know, right? And we function with them every day. We know them. We go to church with them, went to school with them. Y'all sorority sisters and frat brothers with them.
Like Judge Patton, Judge Brendette Brown Green, like all of them, they got reelected in 22.
Okay. Place 12, Thomas E. Thrash.
That's out in Bessemer.
Okay. Place 14, Tierra Young Hudson.
Well, no. Well, that's complicated. That seat that got taken.
Okay.
That seat got moved to Madison County.
So see, like, to be informed is important. So that's why we use the airways to inform, to have discussions about these different changes that we may think don't impact us directly. But if you drive through Madison County, which is what, like Huntsville, coming from home, coming on the hill or something, get in some trouble, and you need to see somebody that looks like you, but you didn't think. Okay. Candace Pickett, place 16.
Yeah, she won.
Elizabeth French, place 17, incumbent. Place 19, Bessemer, David Hobdy.
Yeah, he's a presiding judge out in Bessemer.
Went to my house law school. Place 20, Domestic Relations Court, Alicia Ruffin May.
She just won her election.
Listen to that. Place 21, Civil Court, Monica Agee.
So she does not. She just won her primary. She doesn't have opposition, I don't think.
Okay. And then place 22, Tamara Harris Johnson.
Absolutely doesn't have opposition.
All right, so that's just a few. Right. That is just a few of those. And then every other race, everything that's happening, it tells about the duties of that particular situation, what they're doing, what they're looking at, and it also talks about the amendments. These amendments are detailed. I know that you all heard them before in the think tank with Will Boyd. He said that he shared them with them.
He did half of them. Coming back to
what did he get, like 4?
I think he said he did 5 and he's doing the other. There are 10 amendments, I think. Right? He did half of them from what I remember him saying.
It's notification of the governor notifying the attorney general and the victim's family before granting a commutation or reprieve of a death sentence.
Yeah.
You got the amendment authorizes state, county, and city governments to award public funds to public or private companies to expand broadband internet access.
Everybody should vote for that.
I definitely.
Man, you know how many people in the Black Belt that don't have internet service? Man, it's crazy. Like,
and the fact that we have to vote for it. And so that's what I'm saying. Government controls every aspect.
That's why voting matters.
Come on, man. What's the other one? This is 4. This amendment says that during a general election year, any election law should be passed at least 6 months before the election. Meaning, like, don't just hop up and say, "No, we're gonna put a line right here," or "Y'all can't vote at this box anymore. We're moving it here." No, you can't do that. It's got to be 6 months ahead of time.
And proper notification, I think.
Absolutely. I need it on the news. I need it on Vital. I need it in the tank. Amendment 1. This is also called Anaya's Law. Changes Section 16 of the Constitution, which currently states people charged with a crime other than a capital offense are eligible for bail. Amendment 1 would add charges that would make a person ineligible for bail: murder, aggravated child abuse, sexual torture, and terrorism, as well as first-degree kidnapping, rape, sodomy, domestic violence, human trafficking, burglary, arson, and robbery.
That's a whole hour
in itself, huh?
Bail is we're in a weird place in the country.
Let's look at one more, and then we're going to go to the phone lines to wrap everything up. Amendment 10. If voters ratify the 2022 Constitution, this amendment says any new amendments will be properly organized in the recompiled document. This is about changing the Constitution of Alabama.
Yeah, and sort of.
But this amendment will keep it organized as new amendments are added. So it's still going to be long.
It's still, I mean, y'all do realize we have the longest Constitution in the world. Not in the South. Not in the region.
The whole world.
The whole world.
Yeah. Whole world.
267 amendments. That's crazy.
Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you're in the think tank. What you got? Hello.
Use your words.
Hello. Caller, you're in the think tank. What you got? Hello.
Is it Sunday night?
Hello, you're in with Woo and Chuck. You got a comment, question, thoughts, feelings?
Say it on me.
Hello. All right, perfect, cool. They ain't there. So, comments. In the comments, this is what we're talking about right here. Mr. Robert Young mentioned Lanice Washington, which I totally agree with.
That's absolutely. Absolutely. She got opposition.
She does have opposition.
Bill Veach, right?
And if you're look, those are the situations, like, we're able to it's a big thing in a small town, in a city like Birmingham, where you can call your people by name. You can see them at events. You can go to their mama house and you can see them in, like, we are all here together.
Hey, so, she went I have to say this. Shout out to her too. She had breast cancer. Right?
Absolutely.
And it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Look at you. Tie it all together.
I try to. Bring it on home.
Bring it home. Like, last 4 minutes to bring it home. Last 5 minutes. So I think we've talked about a lot of different things that show you why voting is so important, why it's vital to be a part of the political process, to use your voice, just by marking a bubble and encouraging those around you. Like if you get in a car and you're going somewhere, you got to cast your vote. You take some people with you.
Yep.
Encourage others. It does not have to turn into an argument. I'm just having a conversation with you, encouraging you. We're not gonna fight about it, but I do want you to know that as things change, you want to be a part of those changes. You don't want them to just change for you. Don't allow people to change things for you and do things to you, and you hadn't said or tried to do anything.
Right.
I ain't gonna just let you do anything to me. I'm just not.
What you're not gonna do is me.
Yeah, we're just not. I can't allow that. I got a question for you, Chuck, and I think I'm gonna let this ride, and then we'll talk about something else. Ask Charles about Vivian Figures in Mobile and how gerrymandering hurts her.
Oh,
and they called you Charles.
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. So again, that's why voting matters, because what they're doing is they are redrawn. If I'm correct, they've redrawn her lines, and so like she now has a greater constituency that doesn't necessarily look like her. And if that's the case, then she may lose her seat, and that's a problem because Vivian Figures has been a senator for a long, long time. Her husband was Michael Figures, and I can't remember what happened to him. He died some sort of way. And she's been a vocal supporter of all Black folks and like, you know, just people lower socioeconomic impact. I mean, lower socioeconomic scale or whatever. And she's done very good things, and they've redrawn her lines. So now, you know, that seat might get lost. Also, think about this. We were supposed to have an additional congressional district, which may have gotten us another Black representative other than just Representative Sewell. So they messed that thing up too now. So it's like, y'all got to pay attention to this stuff, man.
Right.
Who calls me by my first name? That's so
funny.
weird.
That's really funny.
Not my mama. She ain't listening.
But that's what happened. That's what he said. That's what he did. So that's a think tank for you today. So much going on, so much to be made aware of. I'm quite sure that all of you who have been tuned in and coming today are a part of the political process. You're standing up for yourselves and for those around you. And we appreciate you, but be sure to tell others. Like, let's not just be so self-absorbed. Self-preservation is one thing. Self-love is one thing, but being self-absorbed and not aware of what's happening around you or in the rest of the world is deadly. It really is. Things are continuing to shape up and change every day around us. Oh, I'm with the Boy Scouts, Chuck. I'm going to save the comments. Hit us up directly, Robert. So look, as I was saying, things are happening every day, and they can happen to you, for you, or through you. So if you're going to be a conduit of change, be that. Be proud to be that. Don't just make phone calls. Don't just call into the think tank. Actually get out. Actually do something. Show up. Tell somebody something. Be an educator. Learn more so that you can educate and be informative and be effective. I think that's what it's about. The feeling that I had about just where we are as a society, I'm like, well, maybe everybody's just really waiting on Jesus to come back. If that's what they believe, I don't know what they're doing, but action moves me. So to see other people acting, to hear other conversations, to see people actually doing something really makes me hopeful. So I kind of thank y'all today. You kind of gave me a little hope.
That was fun.
Came in here looking like, man, look, where's the spaceship? Cause damn, man, this is just crazy. So I'm really happy to see that there are a group of people here in the Magic City who are still empowered, encouraged, and informed, and can share their opinions. I heard some varying opinions today, so I like to see that and like to hear that.
I hope we did all right in Chris's stead.
I think so. Well, I think we did. I hope you guys had a good time with us tonight. We'll be back Sunday evening at what time we come out, Chuck? At 7. At 7 o'clock Sunday. So come in, kick it with us on Sunday, and have a grand evening. You've been listening to the Think Tank right here on B94.9 WATV with Lady Wu and Chuck.
What's cracking?
Have a good evening.
Toodles. They pushed the bazaar.
Okay.
Yeah, you know Henry. Henry's mom passed away, apparently.
I know.
So that's
Kathy. You know my homegirl Kathy. Kathy, I'll show you a picture. That's his sister.
Okay.
And so Kathy's daughter is my cousin.
Okay. I did not know that. So they told me they were pushing over the bazaar. Not my favorite place.
Yeah.
Will fumbled all that. So